It was Henry David Thoreau who wrote, "Nature itself means nothing, says nothing, except to the perceiving mind. Beauty is where it is perceived. You surely will see, if you are prepared to see it, if you look for it." John Lubbock, quoted in Flowers Are Forever by Kathy Lamancusa, wrote, "There is a true music of nature, the song of the birds, the whisper of leaves, the ripple of waters upon a sandy shore, and the wail of wind or sea." Hello once again, I'm Don Jackson with the heartbeat of the internet and nature's whispers. There is an ancient language that few of us ever take the time to understand. Now, it's not one of those ancient tongues written on stone walls of old tombs that need scientists to decipher. This is a language that is around us every day. It's the voice of nature. When I shovel snow, I can't help but hear this voice whispered in the wind. When I rake leaves in autumn, I hear it again. In summer, when I'm near my pond and hear the wings of a dragonfly or hummingbird nearby, I again hear something else that gives me pause to believe there is a voice around us all the time. Most of the time, it's muffled or drowned out completely by the overlapping sounds of traffic. This reminds me of a writing by Robert Kimber from a canoeist's sketchbook published by Chelsea Green. And I quote, "One of the best places you can go in a canoe is the wilderness. And what, you may ask, is so great about it? The silence, for one thing. In real wilderness, silence is not just quiet, which is the absence of noise. It is the voice of the living earth, unmuddied by oral clutter. I live in the country, which is a lot quieter than the city. But even in the country, there is a lot of noise. Cars of people commuting to work, machines that build houses, cut down trees, paint stripes on roads, fly around in the sky, split quiet lakes in half, wind across the top of the snow. In the country, you experience blessed periods of quiet, and it surely is a great treasure. But in the wilderness, you are surrounded by the voices of silence, and they are a greater treasure still. That silence is its voice, the voice of nature." Time was when I could walk and sing all day and hear no more than the echo of my own voice in the hollow hills and the smell of the air. I used to spend a week just breathing. An excerpt from something the Ent said in The Two Towers by J.R.R. Tolkien from his trilogy Lord of the Rings. Tolkien would have us believe the trees are living, breathing creatures with a voice. They move from one place to another, but at a very slow pace. Sometimes they sleep for extended periods of time and then wake to carry on long conversations with other trees and maybe the magical creatures that inhabit the forest. Where I live, we have huge pine and spruce trees and many others too. Lindens, chestnuts, purple ash, maples, poplars, magnolias. I've listened to the wind as it rustles the leaves of some of these young and old trees. If you listen closely enough, you might think you hear voices. This was by Han Yu and translated by Burton Watson. Leaves fall turning to the ground by the front eaves racing, following the wind. Murmuring voices seem to speak to me as they whirl and toss in headlong flight. There's a poem called Not Seeing is Believing by Paul Petrie, and it was featured in the Treasury of American Poetry published by Doubleday. From across the stream, on the side of the opposite hill, I see a woman in a blue wool coat who is walking her dog. Her hair is as white as snow, and her dog snow white. They are walking through the plum-brown, silvery branches of trees. Step after step she moves, leaning on each foot as the old do. She is walking her dog and thinking. Under the nest of her hair is another world, are many other worlds, present, past, future. But none of this shows. She is walking her dog and thinking. And the dog, too, is thinking. Bushes are telling damp, excited tales of an earlier sun, of a darkness before this sun. And the trees around them are thinking slow, wooden thoughts that stretch over centuries. And the earth in which the trees root down also is pondering deep stone thoughts. But none of this shows. I see a woman in a blue wool coat who is walking a small white dog through the plum-brown, silvery trees. Sweet is the whispering music of yonder pine that sings. The words of Theocritus. Peter Steinhardt wrote a piece on the wind for the March 1988 issue of Audubon. He wrote, and I quote, "Wind is a plant's only chance to make music." To listen long to the wind is to know the voice of the plants, that pines have a high-pitched whine, that oaks groan, grass sighs, and redwoods sing softly. End quote. If that is the case, then all of nature is one big wind chime. My wife bought some Tuscan wind chimes a couple of years back that play a few notes from a well-known Italian opera. It's amazing to think that makers can help the wind play music by some of the world's great composers. Dr. Charles Roper wrote a poem in 1992 after experiencing outward bound for himself. Now, you might recognize his name since he has written books based on recovery. He took the Outward Bound Wilderness training experience, and it so moved him. This is just an excerpt of what he was inspired to write. I listen to the trees, and they say, "Stand tall and yield. Be tolerant and flexible. Be true to yourself. Stand alone and stand together. Be brave, be patient. With time, you will grow." I listen to the wind, and it says, "Breathe. Take care of yourself, body, mind, and spirit. Take time. Be quiet. Listen from your heart. Forgive." I listen to the sun, and it says, "Nurture others. Let your warmth radiate for others to feel. Give yourself without expectations." I listen to the creek, and it says, "Relax. Go with the flow. Tend to what's really important and let the rest go by. Keep moving. Don't be hesitant or afraid. Lighten up. Laugh. Giggle." I listen to the mountains, and they say, "Be there. Be honest. Be trustworthy. Do what you say you're going to do. Be true, genuine, and real. Speak from the heart. Don't cheat." I listen to the birds, and they say, set yourself free, sing. I listen to the clouds, and they say, be creative, be expressive, let your spirit run free. Let yourself be light and gay, but let yourself be heavy and sad. Cry when you feel like it. I listen to the sky, and it says, open up. Let go of your boundaries and barriers, which you have created to protect yourself. Experience change. Fly. I listen to the flowers and small plants, and they say, be humble, be simple. Respect the beauty of small things. Respect the beauty of humility and truth. Let go of perfectionism. Love yourself as you are. It opens the door to change. Practice acceptance. I listen to the bugs and flying insects, and they say, work, be productive, use your hands. Focus on what's in front of you. Ignore the past. There is only the present. I listen to the moon, and it says, love, share love, make love, be romantic, touch and caress. Allow yourself to be loved. Be gentle, kind, and understanding. I listen to the stars, and they wink and say, play, dance, be silly, have fun. Legend has it that at one point in time in the distant past, butterflies had extremely beautiful, mysterious, ethereal voices. In a Native American legend, the creator one day has a brilliant inspiration. He decides to create a creature so unique that some of the other creatures take notice and complain. He creates the first butterfly and gives them vivid, spectacular colors of the rainbow, and in the process gives them something else too. He decides to give them a voice. Not only do they appear as graceful, floating flowers, they have the beautiful songs of the birds that were here so long before this new creation. One of the birds petitions the creator and scolds him as saying that it is not right that this creature should have something that rightfully belonged to the birds. The creator gives the winged creature's words some thought and agrees that he gave each bird its own song. It belonged to them. It wasn't right that he should take what rightfully belongs to the birds in order to give it to these delicate creatures of the air. And according to this legend, that is why the butterfly is now silent. The perpetual rustle in the garden, she wrote, makes one feel that perhaps some mysterious presence is ever moving there. It weaves a magic spell. An excerpt from an article called Katrina's Gift of Roses by Tova Martin in the June 2000 issue of Victoria magazine. Alexander Smith may be able to identify that presence. He may have had the same visitor. My garden, with its silence and pulses of fragrance that come and go on the airy undulations, affects me like sweet music. Care stops at the gates and gazes at me wistfully through the bars. I. Noble wrote, Nature speaks in language olden, speaks in tones that all may hear, tells of ages that were golden, tells of storm nights dark and drear. She has secrets in her keeping, secrets hid from you and me. They have been for ages sleeping, stored in earth and air and sea. In the streamlets you will hear them as they ripple o'er the stone. In the forests you are near them, Near them in the desert lone. Hear them in the tempest raging. Hear them in the summer breeze. See them in the seasons aging. See them in the spreading trees. Every flower, it has its story. Every stone, its tale to tell. Legends tint the sunset glory. History molds the mollusk's shell. There's that suggestion that there are voices all around us. A stream has always been considered one of the many magical places in the world. Milton suggested that these streams may even have a voice that enchants when he wrote The Liquid Lapse of Murmuring Streams. Maybe this is where the expression, a babbling brook, came from. Maybe George Washington Carver has it all figured out for us. I love to think of nature as an unlimited broadcasting station through which God speaks to us every hour, if we will only tune in. Good night, sweet dreams. I'm Don Jackson.